my review of the Flogging Molly album, Life is Good. It was released in 2017 and produced by Joe Chicciarelli and Ross Hogarth. And I'm sorry, I probably butchered the pronunciation of both those last names. Never really heard them said before, so I'm not quite sure how to say them. So this album, I didn't get this when it first came out. 2017 was like a really bad year for me, and I wasn't aware of it coming out. I wasn't really like following the band at the time or listening to them really that much. I kind of just was in other music then. Occasionally I would listen to them, usually not like a full album, just like play a song here or there. So yeah, I wasn't aware of this coming out. I don't know when I learned that they had put this out, but I think I came across it on Spotify or something, and I remember that was how I listened to it the first time. I listened to it on Spotify, and I wasn't really that into it on first listen. Just none of the songs really stood out that much to me. So I wasn't like in a big hurry to buy that CD. I don't remember exactly when I bought this, probably like 2020. I think I've had it a few years at this point, so I like the way the CD looks a lot, but anyway. So yeah, it's an album that I was kind of expecting to like a lot less at this point, but as I've been listening to these albums and stuff, this one I start liking more on each time I listen to it. But definitely going into this, I was pretty sure this was going to be like my bottom one probably, because I just never really got into it that much even after buying it and listening to it a few times. And so it's really just listening to it to do these reviews that I've started to appreciate it. So the first song, There's Nothing Left, Part 1, I think it's a really strong opening track. It does kind of like end a little suddenly, I feel like, which is probably why it's called Part 1, but there's no Part 2 yet. And yeah, I think it's got cool lyrics, like Dave's lyrics on it. I feel like this album, more so than like any of the albums before, kind of shows the band getting older, I feel like, in some of the lyrics and stuff. Which now I'm older than I was when I first got into this band, so I can kind of relate to that. So yeah, I think pretty strong opener. Second song, The Hand of John Sullivan, was the first track I heard off this album. I think I heard this song on like YouTube or something, and then I went and found the album on Spotify. This one, I think, sounds like it could have fit on one of their earlier albums. This album production-wise, I don't really know where I stand on it as far as some of the others. I do feel like, I think the high point of their production, at least as far as what I like to hear from the band, was probably like Within a Mile of Home. And then on Float, I like the production kind of less. And then Speed of Darkness, I can't really remember if I said I like that more than Float or not. I need to go back and listen to those compared to this and kind of gauge where I think the production's at. But this one definitely sounds like it could have fit on one of their older albums as far as like the style of the song and everything like that. So I think that once again they have another album that has a really strong first two tracks. Third song, Welcome to Adamstown. It's got some trumpet on it, so that gives it kind of a different feel. I think that this one, subject-wise, sounds like it could have fit on the last album, which I feel like, I don't know, maybe, I mean, they've definitely always had like political songs, but it seems to me like since Speed of Darkness, they've kind of like focused more on current type of political things. So the next song, Reptiles. This one's one of the slower ones, and it's kind of taken me a while to get into, like a lot of their slow songs do. And I think it's got some cool like instrument parts on it. It's definitely got like a really weird music video that I came across on YouTube. The fifth song, The Days We Left Behind. Another lead vocal from the bass player, Nathan Maxwell, and I think that this is probably my favorite of the songs that he sings lead on. I think that on this song he sounds like he's kind of found his singing voice. It's like I don't want to. On the other two songs he sang, like I don't want to say he sounded like he was kind of almost trying to do the accent, kind of an accent. At least that's what it sounded like a little bit to me. Or that he was singing a little bit in kind of an unnatural voice, whereas here it sounds like he's just being himself. And I think it's kind of one of the standout songs on the album. Really, for me, it's a good song. Sixth track is the title track, "Life Is Good." I think it's a pretty strong title track. Another one that took a little while to grow on me, though. Seventh song, "The Last Serenade," is pretty good, but I don't think it's one of the more like memorable tracks to me yet on the album. I still probably need to listen to it a few more times to let it sink in. The eighth song, "Guns of Jericho." This one I didn't really like it that much when I first listened to it the first couple of times, but now I'm starting to get into it, and I think it's one of the pretty good track on the album. The ninth song, "Crushed," "Hostile Nations," is I think one of the strongest songs on the album. Like going into the listen tonight, I knew it was one of my kind of contenders for favorite song on the album, and I think it's probably one. Definitely just like a really kind of kick-ass song from them. Then the 10th song, "Hope." I like this one too. It's got a pretty catchy chorus. The 11th track, "The Bride Wore Black." This was kind of the song that on the first few listens stuck out the most to me, and it was definitely my favorite on the album for a while. I think it's kind of been replaced by "Crushed" now, but I think it's still a really good track. And then the last song on here, "Until We Meet Again," I think is a pretty good closer. It's not like extremely memorable though. I need to give it a few more listens, I think. So yeah, "Life Is Good." I think it's a pretty strong album from the band. Forgot to mention the video, or at the beginning of the video. This is the first album since I think since Drunken Lullabies, where they have a lineup change. So there's a new drummer, Mike Alonso, I think is his name. I should have wrote that down, but I forgot to. So if I got the name wrong, I'm sorry. I think he does a pretty good job on here. I don't think he plays exactly like George Schwint did. To me, I always thought George Schwint had a kind of, I don't know, almost like Keith Mooney type quality. And the new guy, I think he's good. He's, I think, a solid replacement. I mean, I don't know what went on between all of them, so I don't want to get into that, but I'd say he's a little more, I don't know, a little less like explosive, a little more, I don't know. But yeah, I think he's good, does a good job. So no, sorry, kind of a off-topic rant there, but yeah, this album definitely getting into it a lot more than what I was when I first heard it, and yeah, I expected it kind of going in to be last, and now I think it's going to be higher than that. I don't know how high it's going to rank when I do my video though, because a lot of their earlier albums I just have so much nostalgia for that they're going to be hard for anything to really compete with. But this is definitely an album that I look forward to listening to more and kind of appreciating more. I don't know if I would start here exactly with them, because I feel like this album in some ways is kind of a little bit of a kind of correction from their direction on Speed of Darkness. Like it doesn't seem like they're trying to be as, I don't know, commercial, I guess, on here as they were on that album. This sounds more like a step to try to get back to where they were at like Float, maybe, because that I feel like was trying to get a little more commercial than like Within a Mile of Home was. So I feel like this is kind of, it's maybe more similar to Float than it is to Speed of Darkness. But yeah, pretty solid album, and one that I think I'm going to keep liking more as I listen to it.